on. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome into another episode of The Rippily Show. Today, we are continuing our series on use cases, designing spaces that actually work. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Always thrilling to be here with you today. This episode is really any of these use case episodes are close to my heart. The Breakthrough Show Network, which I am at the helm of, has used so many spaces for so many different things. And I think that's part of the beauty of designing your own immersive spaces. But today we're talking about classes, workshops, and teaching spaces. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about teaching in virtual spaces is that teaching is all about the information alone. But the longer I've hosted shows, workshops, events, co-working sessions, discussions, all of it, the more I've realized something. People rarely remember every single detail that you've taught them, but they absolutely remember how it felt to learn from you. Did they feel intimidated, welcomed, overwhelmed, included, lost, inspired to participate? Teaching spaces are not just containers for content. They are environments that either support learning or quietly fight against it. And I think we've all experienced both of those situations. So we've been in spaces where we suddenly have felt curious, engaged, comfortable enough to ask questions, excited to stay even longer than we planned. I think a lot of us here in the Ripley community have hosted something, and 3 hours later, we're still talking in the space because we are so inspired and excited to be in this space together. And that doesn't happen by accident. That is design. And what's exciting about platforms like Ripley is that we're no longer limited to the old model of here's a screen, here's a slide deck, good luck. See you next time. Now we can really create movement, interaction, exploration, hands-on experiences, and we can build spaces where people don't just consume information, they participate in it. So today we're diving into what makes teaching spaces actually effective, not just educational, but experiential. So let's get into it. But coming up first, I'm very excited to, as always, have back on the show the fabulous, the one, the only Claudio Perrone. Welcome back, Claudio.
Hey, I'm so fabulous.
As always. As always. So I'm very excited because you implemented something just a couple of days ago on the Ripley platform that really left an impression. Talk about an experience. Tell everybody what you added this week.
Yeah, I mean, so I did a couple of things. One is behind the scenes, which is a huge performance improvement at, especially for large events. Without going into the details, there's a lot of moving parts, but at the same time, I'm pretty proud of that. But the second part is the most feasible one, which is basically, we've been where I am. Where did I move? There's something that happened.
Something is wonky today.
Okay.
Here we go. We're back.
Okay, there we go. And so basically, we're talking about badges, right? And a badge system. And I did a bit of research because I think it's thanks to you, when you started doing the dive, you started giving away badges, and then we had even co-working spaces where people would get points. Anyways, there is this kind of emerging current, within the ocean of Rippily,
Yeah.
where we're giving badges to each other. But the thing is, like, badges as a recognition, they're fine, and one-off badges like that are great. But basically now we also have like a badge system within Ripple itself, where basically you have, the idea of streaks, and for basically continuing, using Rippily, going to visit like different ripples, and so you get like an increase in your streak count. And a lot of people were really into it, to the point where I would have even support calls if by any chance, you would have someone who would either skip the skip the day, or there was other issues like that. So now it's becoming a little bit more official. Together with the streak, you get badges at certain points in time. And basically there were a number of us who were at day 99. And there was this expectation that we would have some celebration, I guess, right, on day 100, which is there. And so I thought, well, in the evening, I worked out and I did some form of celebration, like, fireworks, whatever. And then I don't know if Peggy knows it, but she sent me a message, which basically said, let me see if I can find it. But she was all excited, thinking, basically, why am I saying basically all the time right now? I don't know. But anyways, she would say something, oh, I can't wait for the badge or whatever other reward you're going to get once I get 100 tomorrow morning. And that's the message I saw in the morning. Luckily, I was in Ireland. I did the celebration. I didn't have anything. I didn't think about badges at all. And I said, oh my God. And so I spent basically the day playing on time zones to create a badge for Peggy and the rest of the world. And that's the way the system was born.
How I'm over here trying to figure out, how did you not, with the culture that we have created here on Ripley, how did you not think of a badge?
I know, but one thing is to create, and again, I've done a lot of research, right? And one thing is a badge, which is a one-off for an event. Could be quirky, could be elegant, could be weird, could be yellow, could be whatever. When you start actually building for a platform, you start thinking in terms of, okay, the early badges will better make them silver. As you get to higher thing, maybe you can make them gold. And then maybe in the future we would have special badges for, particular events or special services given to the community. Think about this, right? So again, there are maybe some badges that have a continuity and progression, and others that are once off. So anyway, there's an entire world around that, which I find fascinating. More to come. That's just
just the beginning of these. And I put a question in the chat for everybody. What would you want to earn a badge for on Ripley? I want you to put your creativity hats on and chime in over in the chat. And I'm showing you on the screen here where you go from your dashboard. So when you're on go.ripley.com, you're going to head over to the activity tab, and that's where you'll see the achievements now that you're able to unlock. What are those achievements they can unlock right now, Claudio?
Well, right now is, first time you create a ripple, that's an easy one to get. There's not even a celebration for that, but it's going to be there, like in your bar. And then you have 7 day, 30 days, 100 days, and there will be some surprise moving forward. Definitely there will be some surprise badge. When you join as well, there is a celebration. All I'm telling you is that if you get to the day where you get the badge on that specific day, every time you click on the top there where it says light your flame, normally there is a streak. Every time you click on that streak for that day, you will have the celebration over and over. Which is kind of fun because I kept clicking on that whole day. And I know Peggy did the same, you did the same, other people. Again, if you happen to be on celebration day, just click on that as much as you can.
Well, and let's clarify really quickly how you earn towards the streak badges, because I think a lot of people think, okay, I just log in and that counts, but it doesn't. You need to do what in order to get that point?
You need to enter a Ripple, a room. Okay, it could be yours, it could be somebody else, but you need to go in there. It's not just enough to log in. You just do an action. It's
Yeah,
as simple as that. And there is, if you hover the light your flame, it will probably tell you with a pop up as well. It generally does.
there you
Yeah,
go.
there.
Join any
Join.
Ripple to start your streak.
And there we go. I
Easy
see you're
peasy.
not giving anything away, right? I see like they're all locked. You know, you
Well,
let
we were
people.
Look, we were having this discussion in the Global Business Plaza yesterday, and I admit I was a little overzealous with my response. Peggy was about ready to show a video of what the celebration it was like, and I'm like, "Don't do it! Don't do it!" Because it was so exciting to see that, and I feel like if we see sort of the preview of what happens before, it's not as exciting as when we see it live and we get surprised with it. So that's
Yeah, I
so you get nothing
honestly,
today.
honestly, I don't mind either way. I think it's a nice shareable moment, to be honest. Why not? You know, you can brag about this with the
Yeah.
community, and maybe it's on me, in fact, to make every celebration different.
Mm, maybe
Mm.
it is.
Food for thought. Food for thought.
Good
Should I
to know.
improve performance, or should I just, make it, different celebration every time?
Right. Let's hear some of the thoughts that came in. Let's see. Visiting other ripples is a thought for a badge every 25 days. Listen, Coach Debbie Jeter is fighting. She's fighting the good fight every 25 days. Dr. Sandy said she wants to be able to use something like this for her community as well. And that was a discussion that you and I had also about bringing the communities in as part of it. A Discover badge for visiting other ripples, not your own.
Yeah, I mean, we have kind of
Yeah.
ideas of, in the analytics to basically say I'm an explorer, like this idea of facilitating, exploring other communities for sure. It's something that it's in my mind. That's not a bad idea to have a badge for that even. And again, there's some logic as well to make, obviously the early badge is easy to earn, and
Mhm.
then become exponential, and then you really have to sweat
Yeah.
to get the badge. And I'm kind of thinking, you know what, we should have like very specialty, unique ways. But I'll tell you the next thing, what it could be is that in your profile, badges become visible as well. So it's not
Mm.
just for you; it's you can show off.
Absolutely. Let's see. Ralph was saying maybe a compass icon for Explore. I love that idea because that compass is sort of that universal symbol, right, of exploration and going to find your true
Yeah,
north.
as I was thinking about the system, you need to really plan it as a language, right? As I
Mm,
said before, like a progression. Silver to gold is one idea. Specialty badges maybe have a different kind of style.
yeah.
There's a proper language that you can start working out. So, anyways, I'm open to everybody as usual. I hear from everyone, and then
All
decide
the
not to
time.
go that way.
All the time.
Yeah.
And so, in addition to the badges, obviously, you've been working tirelessly always on bugs and things in the background or improving certain systems. And there were some different things with different browsers, which always creates, I think, an interesting challenge when you
Yeah.
have something working so good on one browser and then another browser you can't see or hear. And it makes for a fun time, right?
Yeah, I mean, this was the brave battle this week. I wasn't even going to talk about it because I still feel sour about it. But basically,
He's
browsers
upset. He has
decide.
trauma, everybody.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. But it's a fight that I think I won at this point. Um, yeah, and so it's constant, And again, if you go to the change log, um, on the footer, basically, you will see there's a change log that shows the kind of progress that is constantly there. And again, actually, today I was showing a friend of mine. We went back again to day one, still like jumping memory lane and thinking, what was I thinking? Back then, brings memory.
Do you think you'll still feel that way, 2 years, 5 years from now? You'll look back.
I will have seen that page for so long that probably will be tired of that.
Well, so much for a heartfelt moment, everybody.
Sick of it. Why do we even have Rippily,
Well, thank you again, Claudio, for coming on the show today and sharing with us about the new badges. I can't wait for you to hear that you guys are getting your streak badges, and we all look forward to, I think, hearing about more badges and whatnot in the future. So we appreciate you. Thanks for coming by today.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Everybody give a round of applause, please. Okay. For our topic today about classes, workshops, teaching spaces, I wanted to invite a friend of mine back who I think you guys really love and appreciate around the Ripley Ocean. And she does many things, but most importantly, she is your favorite Sang. So please put your hands together and welcome back to the show, Miss Sang D. Good to see you, Miss Sang. Look at you all dolled up. We got the lashes going and the hair going. I love it.
Thank you. I just whipped myself right out of bed. And what do they say? I woke up like this.
Well, Ripley does that for us, right? Like we just were already ready to go.
Here in this hot seat. I love it.
Well, I was really excited to have you on for this topic today because you are no stranger to teaching classes, workshops, and all of that in the online space. But obviously, like the rest of us, teaching here on Ripley is something new. So prior to Ripley, what had you experienced with teaching online? What was some of your experience with that?
Well, that good old Z word, Zoom, right? Nobody likes that. But I want to take everybody back to something. I always like to go back into like something in my past that like brings it to the forefront. And so here in Kansas City, I was the race chair for Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure. And when social media started coming out, we also had this thing called Sleep In for the Cure. And those people were people who may not have been, may not have had something going on. They couldn't attend, whatever went on. And so we wanted them to be included. And so at the time we had created a social media command center. Like it literally looks like a command center, like all these computers, all these people. And then I had people on the ground, right? Because what I wanted to do is give the people that were at home, the Sleep In for the Cure, an experience as if they were in the race themselves, right? They got to see the parade, the Survivor Parade. They got to see the different booths. They got to experience people talking. They got to see those moments of just moments of clarity, but also moments of emotion, right? And get to experience that at home. And so having that come to life, like I get chills when I think about it because it was such a huge time when you have about 15 to 20,000 people at the event, but then you have another 10,000 people at home who are also able to experience something like that. And so having been now on this platform to where you get to give someone a whole new experience that they may not even know how great it is until they get here, right? And now, and they can't get this now outside in the world unless you're going to go home and create your fancy cottage book club like I want to do. But it brings something to people where it makes you feel good, and they were also included. And I was thinking, bringing that, and then seeing how even in Zoom where everybody's in a box, I feel like Hollywood Squares. Or like what is it, whammy or whatever that is? Okay, I don't know. I'm and so
press your luck. Press your luck.
Press your luck. That's what it was. I can remember. I was like whammy, the little guy looked like a so being able to see everyone's creativity, right? Like you get to, it's like walking. Like if I could walk into like Van Gogh's office, like I feel like every one of you are like this famous painter, this famous artist. I get to go into each one of your spaces and you create something that is so magical, that is personal to you, that you're leaving an impact and impression on other people that get to come to your space. And that, to me, that's just the most magical thing on the planet right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and launch our first poll over into the chat today. What helps you stay most engaged during an online workshop or class? Interactive discussion, strong visuals of slides, clear structure and pacing, hands-on participation and activity, or something else? And so go ahead. What helps you stay most engaged during an online workshop or class? What about you, Sang? What's your thoughts on that?
I know for me, I'm going to start before I even get to the class. What is my intention for arriving in the class? What do I want to get before I go to the class? And that helps me decide which one of those things is going to be most important, and to be open to hearing what I'm willing to learn from the instructor or the teacher or the guide. Because sometimes it is visual slides. Maybe I need to visually see something for it to be, and it just depends on that artist. I know you have Brittany, who is our community color queen, is what I like to call her. And she shares these visuals, and she also has these hands-on activities for us to do. And then she connects it with how it goes with your life. And so that's a different type of interacting that I love so much. I've gone to a few of Jessica's courses and classes where it's visuals, but then it's the community and conversation and the breakout rooms and just the privacy of that, and just being able to be connected to several different places. And so I feel it starts with me personally, it starts with the intention on what do I want to get out of this workshop that I'm attending.
That's a great point to bring up. I think both for the people that are attending and the people who are leading the workshop, what is the result that you're trying to get? And that helps you determine what are these things that you need to include. It takes us back to the conversation that we were having last month about the intentionality that we have on building the space. What is the outcome that we want to achieve? And then we can determine what needs to go into the space. The poll results are in, everybody. The poll results are in. And the winner is, with 67%, the people want hands-on participation, or hands-on things to do during the activity. And I love that with Rippily, we're able to do those breakout sessions so that we can do more deep dive sort of activities as well. So Rippily uses spatial audio, and basically we could have 4 tables, 4 couches, 4 beanbag chairs, whatever you want to put set up, and you can still see everybody that's in the room with you, but you can only hear who's in your designated zone. And I think that makes for really good opportunities to do some of these sort of breakout activities. Second place on the poll was interactive discussion. They like a Q&A, they like a poll in the chat, things like that. And so notice how no one really talked about the clear structure and pacing, which is something that as a leader of a workshop, I stress about, right? Like, I want to make sure it's structured in the most beautiful, amazing way. No one cares. I mean, I'm sure it's impactful if the structure was bad, right? But that's not that number one thing that makes people want to participate. So that's good.
Well, that just speaks to the community that you're creating, right? When you're in community, you're in community to have conversation. We're there to connect and create and just be in the minds of others. And I will say the strong visuals, I feel like would clearly be exuded when I come into whomever's room it is, because I've been in some of the most amazing rooms. Like I get blown away and I go, you guys are fabulous.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Like Claudia was saying in the chat, you'd miss the structure if it wasn't there. I think it's important, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that thing that stresses us out we got hives before because we're so stressed out about this. We don't need to be like that, because people ultimately, I think, want to feel like they belong and they're included in whatever it is that you're presenting. The next poll that we have for everybody is, what makes you mentally check out during an online workshop? Too much talking, no interaction. confusing flow or pacing, overwhelming visuals information, lack of energy or engagement, or something else. What makes you mentally check out during an online workshop, Sang?
I think I love these, but me, it's more of like the teacher's cadence. Like, how is the teacher teaching? Are they teaching for us to understand? Or, and there could be, I feel like if there's a lot of questions coming up and people are confused, then there's something to think about there. I do find if some visuals can be quite overwhelming sometimes, and they go too fast. Sometimes visuals are put up and they go too fast. But I'm gonna have to go with overwhelming visuals for sure. Will definitely stress me out, and I'll be like, can you just send me that later? Like, I'm not gonna be able to do it in the class because because I know myself, and this is part of knowing self, right? I process a little bit slower when it comes to visuals because I want to see it and I want to match it and I want to put it together and how does it go into that. But I think too much talking, it just depends. There could be side conversations that then y'all need to go to a different space or something. I don't know. It's like being in a classroom when your neighbor's trying to talk the whole time. You're like, dude, I'm trying to pay attention, so things like that. But that's what it is for me.
I'm actually I'm gonna agree with you on the overwhelming visuals. That's what I kind of chose, visuals and overwhelming amount of information. I think one of the important things to recognize is the amount of information given in a class versus how much time you have for the class. I know that the last workshop that I taught on Rippily, it was just meant to be a skimmed, kind of surface level. We're going to just start this conversation. And there were a lot of people who were like, man, I would have loved to go deeper on this or have a conversation about this or more on this topic. But ultimately, it was like, we have 1 hour. And I want to be respectful of my time, of your time. And I don't want anybody to feel that overwhelm of information, right? Where they're going, this is too much, too fast. And they can't mentally process the information that I'm giving them. Because then what are they getting out of it?
Right. Well, you did something very key. And I don't know if Claudio did this on purpose, but you just put a little drop of information right? And then it's out there and then they're wanting more, right? Look, I got confetti for that. Big horn when you need it, right?
That's the equivalent of our mic drop, everybody.
So I think I always tell people, I want you talking about me at dinner tonight. So whatever information I'm going to teach, I want you talking about it at dinner in some form or fashion. So I think being able to leave something like that where you're dropping some information, you're dropping those little gems, you're planting a seed, as they say, and you just allow it to grow, but you continuously doing what you do to bring them back. They keep coming back.
Right. Well, with our poll, what makes you mentally check out during an online workshop? Overwhelmingly, largest percent was lack of energy or engagement. People need you to be pumped up and excited about you're there. Have you ever attended a workshop where you feel like you're in Ferris Bueller and the person is leading the workshop and they're talking like this and you are ready to take a nap?
What are you saying?
I know, like let me get a pillow. Really.
Yeah, I would definitely say I've checked out at that point. And again, that's why I said it always goes back to the instructor. Like, what's the instructor's energy? How are they bringing it in? They're leading us, they're guiding, and that we signed up for, you sign up for a workshop for that specific leader or the topic.
Right.
And if it doesn't connect, sometimes it could be the energy is just off, or you don't like certain things that are there's different things, there's different variables that, that come into play. But yeah, I totally get that lack of energy or engagement because there's teachers that just want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's ones that say, hey, let's get our hands dirty.
Right.
Yes. And apply. I do enjoy the ones where you get to teach and apply. I may not get to apply them right away because again, I know my learning process. So I may take the information, write down some nuggets and ideas and apply later. but I know kind of in my head, I'm putting it all together in my head as the workshop's going on sometimes.
Mm. Well, the ultimate question for those of you creating workshops and classes, are you inviting someone to receive information, or are you inviting someone to be part of a workshop or a class? Because if you're inviting someone to simply receive information, you could send that in an email. You could put that in an article or a blog or a Facebook post. If you are not going to really create that interaction, there's no point for me in making it into a class or a workshop. You want people to be actively engaged and involved. Claudio said his next workshop's going to be like that. If you do that, I'm not coming. If you do this kind of teaching.
Let's be serious. Claudio is not even capable of being like that. So let's just dismiss that whole comment altogether.
There it is. There it is. He's just trying to be fun, guys. Okay.
Yeah, he's trying to be a fun guy. Ha ha ha.
Well, talk about you over dinner. I'm going to be thinking about that as we go through. All right, everybody. So we are going to thank Sang for being here this afternoon. Thank you, Sang, as always, for joining us today. We appreciate you. Everybody, I want to quickly point out the Rippily Dive coming up. It happens every Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, when we get to share and deep dive into the world of Rippily. We get to build something together. Claudio always has amazing announcements for us and Q&A. It's a great time to come together as a Rippily community. So join us. Coming up this Saturday, we're going to be working on states together, which will be super fun. And so definitely come and join us for that. And I invite you to check it out. And then we will have back for our conversation, we will welcome back Peggy and Sang. We'll be right back after this. All right, everybody. So let's see. We need 1, 2, 4. Where is Peggy?
I'm right here. I don't know.
Why are we? What is happening behind the scenes today? I have no idea. Peggy's just moved out of her seat. It's what it is. So we're gonna have Claudio for this segment too, everybody. It is time for the community pulse, and we welcome everyone that is in our studio audience today. Looking amazing. We are, as we talk about this topic, I know a few of you in the studio audience have had experiences teaching a class or a workshop on the Rippily community. I would love to hear from a couple of you. Teresa.
Thank you, Jessica. Were you gonna ask a question, or I just
Well,
Throw it out there.
so you had a workshop this weekend.
Yes, I did.
So it's very new for you, and this was your first big workshop. How was the experience overall, and what is a tip that you would give to someone hosting a workshop?
Okay, this was so exciting, and I want to represent the newbies, the ones who are trying hard and don't know exactly what they're doing, but have great mentors like Jessica inspiring them, backed up by Claudio there and other. Okay, so much. I had the most amazing event. First of all, it is the experience. Jessica's teaching us more about that, and that is opening up a whole new world to me. The experience that they had when they came into the room, because I was able to design a room right out of my heart, literally. And they could all come in and join me there. Oh my God, that was such a wonderful thing. And then Jessica had set up so that we could play music at appropriate times, like during polls and things like that. That was beautiful, and they could turn it off if they wanted and stuff. And then we did a poll. Oh my God, the polls are fun, and like we do a lot of polls here. My tip is do more polls. No, but the truth is there's so many layers to the experience. And so the tip is find a mentor like Jessica and give her all your ideas, because she can make these dreams come true. I know I can learn this eventually, but look, Jessica knows it all already. Okay. I mean, geez. So I love it. And there's unlimited. There's unlimited possibilities out there, and you want to go for it. You do.
Thank you, Teresa. And I think honestly, it speaks to the way that this community comes together. We all get to know each other on the show here, in the dive, in other experiences on the platform. And when you do that, you can find other people who, if you're setting something up and you're like, this doesn't look quite right, or, what's your thoughts about this? I think there's so many people on the platform who are willing to help you and create an amazing experience for both you and your attendees. So thank you, Teresa. I would love to hear from Miss Debbie next on teaching in the Rippily space. What's your experience been like so far, and what is your biggest tip?
So I host meetings and I teach. And I got to tell you, I like having the wow effect. Yes. When people come to my room, I like to just like switch them to another scene, and they're just like blown away. And so you can't do that anywhere else. And so I think it's so important to, people are meeting out. But if you can add energy, if you can add vibrancy, people are excited. And you're right, they'll stay for hours and you have to kick them out. And so my tip is look at the experience that you want. What tools do you need that you can definitely get in Rippily, and implement them? I have a bubblegum machine in my office, and I can hear people from time to time coming in getting bubblegum. And so just make it fun, because if you're excited and you're having fun, they'll have fun too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Coach Debbie Jeter. I would also love to hear from Artemis.
What do you want to hear?
I would love to hear what your experience has been like and your biggest tip, Artemis.
It's been a lot of fun. To be honest, I was really nervous with the first workshop I did. So I do them in the Tech Alchemy community at the last Wednesday of every month. And I was so nervous, but I even forgot I have a timer. I was using my own watch until Shadows pointed it out to me. The tools that we have are fingertips are so fun, and they really draw people in, and they make that level of excitement just a little bit more, because what I'm teaching can be a little dry. I'm basically teaching people how to use AI as a tool, not to let it think for you. So it can be a little bit dry sometimes. I try to inject humor. But what makes it so interesting for them is they can interact with everything, and I can share my screen and I can show them. So when they leave, they have clarity and confidence. They can walk away and use that tool. And all the tools that are at my disposal help me do that.
Perfect.
Could you tell I was nervous?
No, you did beautifully. And thank you for chiming in on that as well. Claudio, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to also explain this, right? Especially on, as we talk about teaching environments, one thing I learned a long time ago is the difference between pedagogy and andragogy. right? Well, I can't say it. Is about teaching to kids. That's what people experience the first time, right? We've been kids, and so you have this kind of idea that the teacher is the one that holds the information and just projects it. This is the way we have our idea of a classroom, and it's completely wrong when we're talking about andragogy. How do you teach to adults? That's where my suggestion would be, let's think less in terms of what we want to teach to everyone else and how to actually exploit or use or enable the knowledge that actually other people in the class already have. That's a big difference, right? When you are like a kid, you may not have enough experience, but when you're in a classroom with other people who are also adults, they have experiences that can share. You can learn from them as well. That to me is where the apex, I guess, of a really good workshop for adults gets the most value overall. So participative learning. But you need to learn these kind of aspects of, adults learn in a different way.
Right. Well, and it goes back to what I was saying before, which is that everybody has kind of a different experience of it, and the goal to think about what it is that you want as a result of that as well. And ultimately, people want to feel a part of something. And if you're going to if your goal is just to have them receive information, then a class or workshop probably is not the right format for what you're looking for, because you can give them that same information in an email and they don't have to be a part of anything, which is a good thought, I think. All right. We want to thank our studio audience for being here today. We thank you guys for this. We are going to head over back into the stage area. Peggy, I want to include you for the Ocean Report today because you have a very important event coming up in a couple weeks, and I want you to tell us all about it.
I do have a very important event coming up in just 3 weeks today, isn't it? 3 weeks today, guys. The Global Business Expo. This is the 9th expo that we have done, but it is the very first expo we are doing 100% on Rippily, and the amount of additional features that we have at our fingertips here on Rippily, the discoverability, the ease of going from booth to booth and all of the scenes. I have taken a sneak peek at some of these business people's booths, and let me tell you, you are going to want to mark your calendar, and you are going to 100% want to attend as much as you can. It is a 12-hour event, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific on June 9th. And the Rippily Show is going to be coming to you live from the expo as well. So the Rippily Show is going to be taking place inside the expo and highlighting some of the amazing things going on. But you can find us on the Discovery page. So you'll be able to go, and we're going to have keynote speakers. We're going to have panel discussions, and we have over 40 business people that have amazing booths that are there to show you what they do, how they're running their business, and you will get to see the heart of their business through their ripples. So you are not going to want to miss it. It is going to be so much fun. I am more than excited to invite you all in.
We are very excited. It's going to be so good. And I have taken a little peek at some of the booths as well. And I always feel like the Global Business Expos, it's just such a treat to see people's creativity, their businesses, and really have that time. Peggy does such a great job, you guys, at setting up time for people to have those panel and keynote discussions as a community. But then you do have that downtime as well, as you would in an in-person expo, where you have time to meet people, network, go booth to booth, check out what everybody has to offer. And it is so amazing. We cannot wait for that experience. So thank you for sharing about that, Peggy.
Yes.
That'd be good. Any final thoughts that you two beautiful ladies have for us on our topic today before we close it up?
Well, I've been teaching and doing virtual workshops and conventions and, all of these things for many, many years. And the experience, I like that. I think it was Debbie that said she loves the wow moment when people come in and they're like, where am I? That's my favorite too. I love when people come in and they're here to learn something, but then they're like, oh my God, I clicked on this thing and this thing happened. Or, you got to change scenes and tell a story to make an impact and all of these things. And people are like, I thought this was going to be a boring little workshop. And I came away learning so much because I was so engaged and involved, because, you're the people that come to a workshop's only going to get what they put into it. And if they come and they're on their phone and they're checking their Facebook and their, emails while you're teaching, they're getting nothing. But you create this environment where they can't even fathom doing anything but paying attention. And that's, and participating and giving their feedback and their insights to make a really amazing experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Make them force them to disconnect from the other things and come and focus on what's going on. And it's really hard not to do that, honestly, in these Rippily spaces. There's so much to see. Even the spaces I've designed, I've come in afterwards and I'll find myself looking at the little plant in the corner and being like, that's a really nice plant over there. That I just haven't, we should take time to breathe, slow down, and appreciate what we've created as well. And I think that's how we get to enjoy these workshop experiences that we work so hard to put on as well. Sang, thank you again for being here today.
It's my absolute pleasure. I, again, invite everyone to think about your spaces and your workshops, and anything that you do really is, what do you want them to know? What do you want them to feel? And what do you want them to do? And just think about you want them to come back for dinner, right? What are you going to leave? What little nuggets are you going to leave to bring them back for dinner? And I will say that I have seen Jessica in action. I've given her an idea, and I will tell you, in 20 minutes or less, it's better than Pizza Hut. Okay. Okay. She can whip it together. So she is for hire, right? We also need to remember that, because creativity, it takes a long time. And I think that's the part that people often forget too, is, these skills don't happen overnight, right? She didn't just wake up yesterday and be like, I did this. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into that. Think about it as getting a college degree or something of that nature. It takes that amount of time to be that amazing. And so I just want to make sure that, Jessica, you are an absolute gem and genius with all the things. And she even walked me through something, and I didn't even have to get on the computer to fix it. So I was impressed, and I'm excited. And
some of that speaks to the amazingness. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Of Rippily too. The way that I've been able to access things from my phone to help my clients that are in my community space. It's like the best thing ever. Best thing ever.
I guess we'll give credit to Claudio. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Thanks, Claudio. Thanks, Claudio. He did. And I will say, coming from other spaces and coming into this space, Claudio, you have tremendously made this so user-friendly, very easy to use, very, just understanding. And again, Jessica being able to walk us through something from over the phone and not having to log in and being like, let me see your screen. Let me do this. Let me do that. It was much easier and much more pleasurable, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And we're all about, when Sang is involved, having a pleasurable experience.
Yes, absolutely.
Love it. All right, everybody. So thank you so much for being here today. Another amazing conversation. Designing a teaching space is really an act of empathy. It's asking, what does someone need in order to feel comfortable learning here? Not just technically, but also emotionally. Do they know where to focus? Do they feel safe asking questions? Do they feel engaged enough to stay present? And one of the most important things is that we can remember as creators, educators, hosts, and facilitators is that more information does not automatically create more transformation. Sometimes what changes everything is clarity, interaction, pacing, presence, a space that helps people breathe instead of bracing themselves to keep up. And I think one of the most exciting things about what we're building inside spaces like Ripley is that we do have that opportunity to rethink what learning can actually feel like. So keep designing learning spaces that people actually want to return to. And we'll be back next week for another episode of The Ripley Show as we continue exploring more intentional ways to build inside virtual spaces. Next week, we will be talking about open discussions and roundtables with an incredible guest, Ray Guillot. So tune in for that every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Jessica Dugas. This is Saying D, Peggy McCartha. You saw Claudio Perrone, and we will see you guys next week on another episode of The Ripley Show. Bye, everybody.
Yay!